I never thought one ordinary Thursday evening would turn into a memory I'd carry for the rest of my life. My name is Emma Collins, and for the past 4 years, I've worked as a senior project coordinator at Harrington and Company, a mid-sized marketing firm in Chicago. My boss, Daniel Harrington, was a man everyone respected. Professional, collected, and sometimes intimidating, he wasn't the type to mingle with employees outside work, except for the occasional holiday party. So, when he asked me to join him for an evening meeting with an important client, I assumed it was purely business. I didn't know the meeting would turn into something entirely different, and that it would reveal a side of him none of us had ever seen. That morning started like any other. I was knee-deep in project timelines and budget reports when Daniel walked over to my desk. His sharp navy suit and usual calm demeanor were in place, but there was a certain urgency in his voice. "Emma, could you spare your evening tonight?" he asked. I blinked, caught off guard. "Sure, for what?" "There's a client dinner. Mr. Lambert from Summit Tech. I'd prefer you to be there, since you know the project inside out." I agreed immediately. Summit Tech's partnership was crucial for our company, and I wasn't going to say no. By 6:30 p.m., I found myself outside the luxurious Riverside Bistro, a place far too elegant for my usual outings. Daniel was already waiting near the entrance, hands in his coat pockets, his usual composure intact. Inside, the client dinner started smoothly. Mr. Lambert was friendly and talkative, asking detailed questions about the marketing strategy. I handled the conversation with ease, grateful that Daniel occasionally jumped in to back me up. But halfway through the meal, Mr. Lambert received a sudden phone call. His face fell. "I'm terribly sorry," he said, standing. "Family emergency. I'll have to leave." He shook our hands and was gone in less than 2 minutes. I turned to Daniel. "Well, that's unexpected." Daniel leaned back in his chair. "It is. But since we're here, and the food is already ordered, care to stay?" It felt strange at first, just me and my boss at a table meant for 3. The initial conversation was work-related, but gradually it shifted. He asked about my childhood in Ohio, my hobbies, even my favorite books. I learned that Daniel, despite his corporate image, loved hiking and once backpacked across Europe in his 20s. He spoke of his late father, who had built the company from scratch, and the pressure he felt to keep the legacy alive. There was a softness in his tone I had never heard before. By the time dessert came, I was laughing more than I had in months. Daniel told a story about accidentally locking himself out of the office during a snowstorm and having to wait in the lobby wrapped in a vending machine blanket. When we finally left the restaurant, the Chicago air was crisp and cold. Daniel glanced at the skyline and said, "Do you have a few more minutes?" I hesitated, but curiosity got the better of me. "Sure." We walked to a small riverside park just a few blocks away. The city lights reflected on the water, shimmering like stars. Daniel pulled out a small paper bag from his coat pocket. "What's that?" I asked. He smiled. "Roasted chestnuts. I used to get them with my dad every winter. Haven't had them in years." We sat on a bench, sharing the warm chestnuts and talking about everything from childhood traditions to the strangest clients we'd ever had. It didn't feel like boss and employee anymore, just 2 people finding common ground. But then, Daniel's tone shifted. "Emma, I know this might sound out of the blue, but I've been thinking about something for a while." My heart skipped. "What is it?" He looked out over the river. "You've been carrying the team through some of the hardest months we've had. I don't say it enough, but your work, it's the reason we haven't lost major accounts this year." I felt my cheeks warm. "Thank you. That means a lot." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small box. I froze. "Daniel, what?" He opened it to reveal a silver bracelet with a delicate leaf-shaped charm. It was my mother's. She gave it to my sister, and when she passed, my sister told me to give it to someone who made a real difference in my life. "I think that's you." For a moment, I didn't know what to say. This was more than a gesture of thanks. It was a piece of his family history. "I can't take this," I said softly. "Yes, you can," he replied firmly. "Because it's not just a gift. It's my way of saying you matter, not just to the company, but to me as a person." The weight of his sincerity left me speechless. I slipped the bracelet onto my wrist, the charm catching the light. We sat there in comfortable silence for a while, the city humming around us. Eventually, he walked me to my car. Before I got in, he said, "Emma, I hope this evening showed you something. I'm not just your boss. I'm someone who genuinely values you." I smiled. It did, and I'll never forget it. The next morning, the office felt different. Not because anything between us had changed in a professional sense, but because I now knew the man behind the title. And sometimes, the most unexpected evenings are the ones that remind you that kindness, even from the most unlikely places, can change how you see the world.